Hey, ladies, welcome to another self-love conversation. And tonight, I want you to have your pen and paper ready because I got mine ready with my little notes. That is because we are talking with no other than Dr. Gilda Carle. Now, let me tell you, relationship expert. Now, Dr. Gilda, the reason why we get excited is because we don't get a lot of relationship experts, right? We get a lot of empowerment people. We get a lot of people who help us with our mind and everything. But when it comes to our relationships, is not a lot of people who come on. And like I tell the ladies, if you're looking for relationship advice from me, don't come here because this not this is not where it's gonna where it's gonna happen. I can help you with anything else. I can help you make more money. I can help you be the best person you want to be. But when it comes to relationships, we have to contract that out. We got to get some people who knows how that works. I mean, she has authored so many books, and one of the books that we are going to talk about that she has tonight is "Don't Lie on Your Back for a Man Who Don't Have Yours." So we're just going to jump right into it. Dr. Gilda, thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. This is my favorite topic.
Oh my God. So my first question is, I know you've been doing this for a long time, but why this space? Why did you choose this space as far as being a relationship expert?
Because everything we do revolves around a relationship. And the first relationship we have is the one loving ourselves.
Absolutely.
And if we don't enter every relationship with a capital I, saying, I am Dr. Gilda, I love you, what are we? We are small letters I. And when we are small case I's, we attract not who we want, but who we are. And if we're small case I's, we will then attract small case I's guys to love us.
Mm.
And you know what? If somebody doesn't have a capital I, you better go in the opposite direction. Because if that guy doesn't think well of himself, then he cannot think well of you. And women make this mistake again and again and again. I see it. My clients, they're heartbroken. He did this, he did that. Let's start with you. And then you
Mm,
go, whoa, 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 whoa.
that's
Wait a
right.
minute,
That's right.
you mean me?
I ain't do
Oh,
nothing.
well, that's the problem.
Mhm.
Or the women who say, but I gave him everything he wanted, girlfriend. That's the first problem.
Yeah.
That's where you went wrong. Everything he wanted. What about what you want?
Mm.
Women are afraid to understand that they must enunciate. I am woman, hear me roar.
Hmm.
Something special. And when I walk into a room, the room lights up because I light up, because I know who I am.
Hmm. But see, Dr. Gildy, I feel like you learned that going through different relationships and
Oh,
everything. And we
I
as
did.
and we as women, going through a relationship, especially, if you had any kind of trauma or anything, or you haven't seen a good relationship, you tend to go with what you've seen, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
like in my case, I never knew who my father was, right? So I learned relationships by watching, my aunts and watching my uncles and how they treated women and how they treated men. So when it was time for me, it was just like, oh, well, do what your aunts were doing, or do what your uncles told you not to do, right? Be that good girl, right? Be that good girl, wait till you're 30, get married, and do all these things. Make sure you take care of your man, give him the stuff that he need. And if you want him to come home at night, you got to be able to just let him be a man, because all of the women I knew told me you got to let a man be a man.
What does
And
that
what
mean?
and what does that mean? Whatever it is that he's doing, as long as he's taking care of the house and you have the necessities that you need, whatever is he do outside the home, that is none of your business as long as you're taken care of. And a lot of women share that same preference.
None of the women who study with me, none of the women who come to me for assistance, none of the women who ask me to coach them, no way. You don't let somebody cheat on you or treat you poorly or go out with his friends and not tell you what's going on. You don't let that happen, because you are not the person who allows that in a relationship. I am not saying you put your man on a leash and you watch everything he does. Oh no, who would even want that kind of relationship? No, I am saying that when you suggest that you are to be respected, and you do this in your body language, in your voice, in your vocal intonation, in your words, you let other people understand who you are, and they wouldn't think twice of taking advantage of you or mistreating you. And a lot of us did not have those role models out there. And so for people like you, and you are not alone, then when you're wise enough and you're old enough to understand this model ain't working for me, I have to change it.
Absolutely.
And so when I did not see what I wanted to see in my own house, I started hanging out with friends who had wonderful relationships, who had terrific interactions, who had tremendous respect from their partner, and they gave tremendous respect to their partner. And even though I was the third wheel with my friends in their relationships, I started to attract relationships just like theirs, modeled after theirs.
But Dr. Gilda, you know what? Social media would say that if you are the way and have the personality the way you say we should have, we end up being alone because we're too aggressive and too abrasive and too loud and want what we want and not willing to compromise and not willing to go ahead and at least give in to some of the things. And me and my friend was having a conversation today, actually, where, we were talking about, I'm 44, she's 45. And it's so funny, we're dating and we're running into men who are a little bit older, who are, experiencing some physical problems, right? And we're like, well, where the hell did this come from? Right? We're like, please don't tell us this is something we have to put up with, right?
But they're going to have to put up with your physical problems too, because when we get older, we break a leg, we twist our ankle. I mean, we do stupid things. And then when we get real older, then we could have all kinds of really damaging medical histories. And so if you have a loving relationship, it's not about, hey, I don't want to be a nurse in a purse.
Right.
I want to be somebody who is put on a pedestal. Well, the problem with these damn pedestals is that you are then looking down on this guy. You want to look down on a guy? Are you kidding? A guy to be looking up at you? Are you kidding? That's not an equal partnership. And you know what? You're going to get very bored with that very soon, because you want somebody who is, one of my words, emotionally present for you. Not, oh yeah, that's nice, dear. Oh yeah, that's nice, dear. Oh yeah, that's nice, dear. As he's reading his newspaper or watching his football game and couldn't care less about your needs.
Right.
You start that relationship with, I, capital I am whoever. I am an educator. I am a relationship expert. I, with a capital I, is always what comes first. Because you cannot say, I love you unless it's a capital I. Because if you're walking around with a lowercase I, you know you're going to attract lowercase losers. And then you're going to be
Mm.
for advice.
Come on, Dr. Gilda. I get it. I get it because it's like you well, I know society does it too, and with social media everything is just heightened because it seems like you fight against the fact of if you do develop this capital I, then you're the ones who's seen as aggressive, and if you do
No,
make more
no,
money.
no, no, no. Capital I's are never aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I's are assertive. I
Gotcha.
know what I want. I know
Gotcha.
who I am. I know that I will not take abuse from anybody, not from a
Mm.
store owner, not from a boyfriend,
Yeah.
not from a sister. I will not be abused. That's my capital I. And
Yeah.
when I walk into a room, everybody knows it. I don't have to announce it and be an aggressor. I just smile and I know who I am.
Now, how do we start to develop this capital I? Because I know a lot of women are going to ask, like, yes, finally, where you can, start to really get what you want out of a relationship. Because a lot of women out there, they want to be in a good relationship and they done worked hard and got a good career and doing what they love, and that's the little piece that is missing in their lives, and the biggest thing they're trying to figure out is why. So how do we start to develop this capital I? And
I wrote this book, Don't Lie on Your Back for a Guy Who Doesn't Have Yours.
mm,
And I purposely wrote this book because I want every single woman out there to understand that if I'm lying on my back looking up at this guy, I have to make sure that he's got my back.
wow.
And we don't traditionally do that. I learned about this from working with homeless female veterans. There's an expression in the military, I got you six. I
What?
got your six means here's 12 and six is on the other side. That's my back. That means I got your back. And in
Oh,
the military, that's beautiful to know that you have my back if I'm in battle.
mm-hmm.
So even walking down the street, you want your honey to understand that he's got your back. He's got you covered. If somebody says a bad word about you, he will come to your defense. If he's not going to stay mealy-mouthed and say nothing, he knows that he respects you so much that he will come to your defense. And many times women overlook this. They want to know, does the guy have money? Does the guy have fame? Does the guy have dress in good clothes? Does the guy look cute? Does the guy have great clothes? Does the guy have a good education? Does the guy have a great job? And besides all those things, and yes, we want to be intellectually stimulated. We want to be sexually stimulated. We want to feel as though that guy admires us. But we in turn have to make sure we also admire him. And I'm afraid that all this feminist stuff,
Oh, please talk about it.
well, that has lost something for us.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be diminishing our femininity. Now that's aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
We should be honoring our femininity, honoring the fact that we are women, we are XX chromosomes. I don't care who defines the word women, we are XXs.
Yeah.
And we are strong. I am woman, hear me roar.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid. In my day, when I was growing up, and I'm a little bit older than 40, when
Mm-hmm.
I was growing up, we were told, don't show how smart you are. He'll be intimidated.
Exactly,
Well,
Dr.
honey,
Gilda.
who wants a guy who's going to be intimidated by you? You don't want that. You want to show who you are, not to brag what you've done, how many books you've written, how many television shows you've done. I've done all those things. When
Mhm.
I go out with a guy, now that I'm single again, when I go out with a guy, I don't talk about all that stuff. I want to talk about his essence. I
Mhm.
want him to ask me questions about my essence. Who
Mhm.
am I? What do I like? What do I not like? What kinds of activities do I enjoy doing? What can we do together? These are all vital questions. And if a guy doesn't ask me questions, and boy, I have seen that too. The guy goes out and he's bragging about all of his money and things and whatnot. Never asks me a question about me. Adios, sayonara, Buster. I don't need you in my life.
Yeah, because isn't it like the guy has the preconceived notions of what he think you want as well, the money, the house, the car, the security. So if he leads with that, then he can kind of gauge if you have, if that's what you out for or if you really like him.
And then he'll decide whether you want to fit in to his lifestyle. Uh-uh.
Hmm.
I want to know if we can fit in to one another's lifestyle.
Right, right, right.
And I am not saying become a tomboy, become a man.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I'm saying be who you are, love who you are, appreciate who you are, appreciate your accomplishments. And you don't have to be bragging about them, but you can't be hiding them because this is very much a part of who you are.
What do you say to those insecure women, though? The ones who are the ones that are very like clingy and want to know where you are and why you're not texting me and you know maybe you don't like me and it goes on and on and on, and even as a friend you're like, girl, you need to get it together. Right, you got to give
Okay.
it some breathing room, you know.
When when I get emails and letters and fan mail, I hear from people, some women start out with this. Oh, I have a very bad relationship. Now I do have low self-esteem. Bingo! That tells me bingo. What, right? That tells me everything I need to know.
Oh
Well,
well.
why do you think you have a bad relationship? Because you have low self-esteem, you have a lowercase I, and you have attracted a lowercase loser. So you have that lowercase loser corrupting your relationship. Well, the fault is not him. The
Yeah.
fault is you for choosing him.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. But a lot of women don't see that because they feel like, well, if I have a man or someone, then
Oh,
I'm fine and I'm okay, right? And there are some women who work hard at really finding a man. Like they feel like their life is not complete
but
until they have one.
honey, any man, any man.
Dr. Gilda, these streets are mean. It's rough out
Well, I don't know. I don't want any man. Do you want any man?
Not
Any
me.
man?
No.
No, I don't.
Mm-mm.
First of all, I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I don't need a man draped on my arm to prove that I'm a great woman.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have to start out. Here's the question, the answer to your question. We have to start out knowing that we are great in our own way, solo. And when a man comes into our lives, he can only, and I want everybody to hear this, ladies,
Mm-hmm.
he can only enhance us. He's not going to put food on my table. I know how to earn my own living. He's not, it's not, I am not desperate for a free meal. I am not desperate to be taken out to a concert. Hell, I can do anything I want on my own because I've already worked my head off establishing my credentials. But some of these women, they think any man will do. And boy, are they sorry later. Those are the women who come to me and they say, now what am I going to do?
I'm
Well,
stuck.
no, we're never stuck. We're never stuck. when these women come to me, I say to them, let's forget about the relationship right now. Let's talk about you.
Mhm.
And boy, the stuff that we uncover.
Wow.
When I ask them, what are your feelings and fears? Well, they don't even know what their feelings are. They don't even know. They can't identify what their fears are, except that I feel so insecure. Why are you insecure? Why do you think you're insecure? And we peel the onion back layer by layer by layer. And even the women are shocked to find out how much is beneath the surface that they have never explored. And they should have explored that before they decided to have a union with anybody, even with girlfriends.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, like some women, and these are the women that I talk to, and I know the women will be able to relate, where you're in a situation where you know that you are working on yourself, and if one of the women like come to you and say, yes, I'm gonna make myself into a capital I want you to work with me and help me, and
Mhm.
now the relationship that they're in starts to change,
Of course it does.
that person is looking at them like I don't know who this person is. And they try
Oh my
to bring them back down to where they are. And then they have to make a big decision if they're gonna stay with this person or not. Like, and most of the time I tell them, well, if you're changing and they're not changing, this is the person you're with this person because this is who you were. Now that you're becoming someone else, is this the person for you?
wise woman, wise words. Yes. You see, we do change. And I admire these couples who have been together for 40 years and are still in love and they're still fabulous. But the secret behind their relationship is that they both changed and grew together. They didn't change in other parts of the world.
Right.
They grew together and they shared their growth with each other, as opposed to, I had one student I was teaching graduate courses, and she was feeling very good. She got her baccalaureate. She had not gone to college, got her baccalaureate, then she got her MBA. And her husband did not have a college education. And he put up with her going to school, her studying, her writing papers, her not being available so often for the kids. And for him, he put up with it. And then she bought a new briefcase in preparation for a new job she was getting. He couldn't contain himself anymore, and he blew a gasket. He had a fit. And theoretically, you might think it was because she bought this new briefcase for a lot of money. It was not the briefcase. It was what the briefcase had symbolized. He just squashed all his emotions into himself, feeling suddenly that he was not good enough for her. And he felt intimidated. So the couple needed to then, they came to me actually to find out how they can work out this marriage. She didn't want to get divorced. He didn't want to get divorced, but he was reacting like a maniac because he let all of this inside just fester. He never dealt with his real emotions about her going on to get further education. And in the end, when you are achieving something wonderful in your heart, this is what you want to do, and you're achieving this wonderful thing, and then your honey, who has always theoretically been supportive of you, suddenly turns around and says, whoa, what is this all about? You have got to communicate. Now, a lot of couples do not communicate. And because of that, they get into terrible trouble. But this couple was able to share their deepest feelings about what this all represented, what her new salary was going to represent for the family. And he
Right.
started seeing a more positive spin on this rather than, oh, what's going to happen to poor me? Now I'm so intimidated. Oh my
Right.
God, she's the capital I, and I'm just a squeaky little, tiny little I. Oh my God. So instead of that, we had to change around the scenario so that he understood that he had been a supportive factor in her getting her degree. And she said she could not have done it with all the support that he gave her. So
That's
that was
right.
a very beautiful thing. But she needed to be led to understand how that worked.
And
Because another woman would have said, what? You don't like this? What do you mean by that?
that's right. That's right. And I'm thinking too, Dr. Gilda, and you let me know what your opinion is and what you think. Do you think that couples should get married early, like in their 20s and things like that, when they really don't know who they are, or you think that they should wait a little bit? Because I always found, even in myself with my marriage, I got married because I was in love and I was, happy. And the biggest thing was is that I was thinking of the scenario in my head, right? Like, oh, he graduated first and I'm still in graduate school, but he comes to visit me from his job and he loves me. So let's go ahead and get married. And then you discover what it's like to
Uh-oh.
live.
You discovered, oh, now what do we do?
Sorry.
True?
Then you discover what it's like to live with a person, to
Oh,
compromise, to communicate, to do all these things. And you got so many emotions going on. You don't really know how to handle those things. Now, we both went through the school of hard knocks, but I was just, saying, uh, if you think that a person should wait till they get out of their 20s, or it doesn't really matter, or what
well,
do you think based on today's scenario? Because I mean, everything is just all over the place. People really just doing their own thing. It's
you are so right, girl. Oh, are you right? Oh, are you right? Well, look, everybody is different. And for me to say, well, you shouldn't get married until you're 26 and a half, that would be
right.
everybody's different. Everybody has different levels of maturity, and everybody comes to Jesus. Everybody has a come to Jesus moment at a different time in their life. Some of us don't get there until we're 50. Others of us get there at 20. But whatever it is that you are going through, you must have a strong sense of who you are and what you want, and when you set boundaries, and you must set boundaries in every single relationship, whether it's friendship or love or business, you must have boundaries set. When you set those boundaries, it is because you are a capital I. I feel good enough that I deserve to set boundaries. In my book, Don't Bet on the Prince, I've written 18 books. So in my book, Don't Bet on the Prince, how to have the man you want by betting on yourself. It all comes down to that one thing. Honey, it's all about ourselves. We must start this equation. We cannot say to a guy, complete me. I know that sounds great in a movie,
Right.
but you can complete me. Oh, yeah, right. Because I'm incomplete by myself. When you can honestly say, I am complete on my own, and now I would like a partner to enhance me, then you know you're ready for a relationship that is healthy. And I don't suggest you go into any relationship that is unhealthy.
Right.
So you want a healthy relationship, and it all starts with us. So when a guy says, hey, baby, let's get busy, I say, don't lie on your back for a guy who doesn't have yours, because if he doesn't have your back, you don't need him in your life.
Absolutely. Dr. Gilda, you gotta, how can we work with you, get your books, follow you? Because this is so good. Because, and the reason why I say that is today with social media, with the way society is, there's no one really giving it to us straight the way you
No,
are.
no, nobody is. No, I'm the tell it like it is person. And I don't look, you know what? When I first started my career, I was a teacher in the South Bronx. Those
Mhm,
kids were rough and tumble. And they taught me, I was teaching them English and language arts. They
mhm,
were teaching me street smarts. I
mhm.
don't go into any speech without talking about street smarts.
That's
I
right.
don't go into any book, any one of my books. I'm working on my 19th book now.
Mhm.
I always include street smarts, and the street smarts start with, who am I? What am I all about? And do I feel I deserve
Come on
who
now.
I am? It's the
Mhm.
deserve level. Nobody writes about it. Nobody talks about it. But I went through on the hard streets of the South Bronx. I went through all of this,
Yeah.
and I have seen the beautiful, the not so beautiful, and how to make ourselves better and better and better.
And you're so relatable too, where you just shoot it straight because a lot of people go around and say, oh, sometimes you got to compromise, where you're like, no, you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and fix you. And when you fix you, then you allow someone to come into your life. Then you allow someone to partner with you so you can grow and both of you guys become a better person. And that's just not what you hear these days. It's always a give and take, communicate, and see what happens, right?
Look, my favorite author, Khalil Gibran, talked about the root. Oh, here's the tree. Here's the tree. Notice the roots are separated. We only intertwine our branches when the roots are certainly, definitely, firmly in the ground.
I love that.
And then they grow and then they intertwine. But unless those roots are well grounded, give it up. It ain't going to happen.
How can we get your books?
Oh, everything's on Amazon. You can get them immediately and start reading them. And it's all about love, love of self.
Yes. And how can we follow you? Your social media.
Oh, I'm on everything. Yeah. I'm social media. I'm hanging out a lot on LinkedIn. I
Okay.
like LinkedIn a lot because it's business and it's also personal. I've expanded
Absolutely.
into my personal. So I'm doing a lot on LinkedIn.
Okay, good. Dr. Gilda, thank you so much for just
Oh,
dropping these nuggets. I promise you, this will probably be another one of our highly rated podcast segments because we all really, especially the women in our group, we are working on ourselves. And as we are working on ourselves and we want to have better relationships, we want to be able to know how can we approach it better this time, right?
and there's only one answer to that. It's
Mhm.
by having the most beautiful love affair with yourself first.
Amen.
And then you just shine. A guy knows it. And you
Mm.
know what? The lowercase i's, they're not even going to be in your midst. They're going to say, I'm not messing with her. Oh, no, 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 no. And isn't that nice that they are taking themselves out of the right scenario, guy?
Right. Oh, Dr. Gilda, thank you so much for this. We definitely gonna try to see if we can get you back to help us out with more things because we have to be able to see if you will answer some of the questions for the women because I know that they're gonna be that they're gonna come pouring in. So hopefully you'll be able to come back.
Do you ever have any call-ins?
Oh yeah, we definitely do like a live part where we'll have some people call in. Like we'll do a special segment for you just to make
Oh,
sure
that'd be
because
great. I did that for MTV. I was the love doc on MTV.
yeah,
And The people who called in were really like, I'm desperate, I'm desperate. And then they realized they weren't so desperate after all. It was just a matter of refocusing. Who is the most important here? Is it him or you? There's only one answer. That's not even a multiple choice question. I
Oh,
am. I'm number one and I am a capital I. So if you don't like it, walk on. I will find somebody who I will partner with who is also a capital I.
there you go. Ladies, don't lie on your back for a man who don't have yours. Period.
Well, you
Period.
change the words a little bit, but it means the same thing.
Period. Oh, Dr. Gilda, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And you have a wonderful night, okay?
You just keep on being beautiful.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, all.
Bye.